She just walked away from Venus Williams, on purpose. Days before the biggest match of her year, nobody forced her to do it. No coach demanded it. No tournament rule required it. She looked at a doubles partnership with a tennis legend, a partnership she had personally requested, and she said no. Why would a 21-year-old give up a chance to share a court with Venus Williams unless something else, something bigger, was pulling at her from the other direction? That's the question that's been sitting in my head for 2 days, and I promise you, by the end of this video, the answer is going to hit differently than you expect, because this isn't really a story about a doubles withdrawal. It's a story about a collision that has been building for 3 years, in silence, waiting for the right moment to explode back into view. And that moment is here. Washington, D.C., the Mubadala City D.C. Open, first round. Not the final, not the semis. The first round. And somehow, this is the match everyone is talking about. Welcome back to Sherry Diaries. If you're new here, get comfortable, because what I'm about to walk you through is one of those sports stories that feels almost too cinematic to be real. 2 women, 1 court, a history neither of them has ever fully let go of. Let's start with the name that's been trending across half of Asia for the last 48 hours. Zheng Qinwen. If you don't follow tennis closely, here's what you need to know in 30 seconds. In the summer of 2024, Zheng Qinwen stood on an Olympic podium in Paris with a gold medal around her neck, the first Chinese singles player to ever achieve it. She had already reached the final of the Australian Open that same year. She was ranked as high as world number 4. She was, by every measure, one of the most feared competitors on the entire tour. And then, almost as if the universe wanted to test exactly how strong she really was, everything started to unravel. An elbow injury. Not a small one. Serious enough that it required surgery. Serious enough to strip away months of her career and, more painfully, her rhythm. Here's where it gets brutal. An elbow problem for a player like Zheng isn't just an inconvenience. Her entire game is built on an explosive first serve and a forehand that can end points in 3 shots. Take that weapon away, even temporarily, and you're not just injured. You're a different player trying to remember who you used to be. She missed the start of the 2026 season. When she finally returned in February, the ranking didn't come back with her. It kept sliding. By the time the draw for Washington was announced, Zheng Qinwen, Olympic champion, former world number 4, was sitting outside the top 100 and had to accept a wild card just to get into the tournament at all. Her results since the comeback tell the real story better than any headline could. An inconsistent season, a quarterfinal in Athens that ended in a loss to Barbara Krejcikova, a loss that actually cost her a direct spot in the U.S. Open. She now has to hope for a wild card there too, or grind through qualifying like a player with nothing behind her name. Think about that for a second. A gold medalist, fighting for entry into tournaments the way an unranked rookie would. That is where Zheng Qinwen stands right now. Wounded pride walking onto a hard court in the nation's capital, praying for a confidence-building win to carry into the final stretch of the season. And then you look at who is waiting for her. Not a qualifier. Not a lucky loser nobody's ever heard of. Alex Eala, Filipino, 21 years old. And right now, arguably the hottest, most dangerous unseeded player left on the entire WTA Tour. Here's the part that should genuinely unsettle Zheng Qinwen if she's paying attention. This isn't Eala's first rodeo against her. 3 years ago, at the 2023 Asian Games, an 18-year-old Alexandra Eala walked onto the court against Zheng in the semifinal, with absolutely nothing to lose and almost everything to gain. Nobody expected a real fight. Zheng was the established star, playing in front of her own continent, chasing gold. What actually happened is the kind of match that gets talked about for years. Zheng took the first set comfortably, 6-1, and it looked exactly like everyone predicted. Then something shifted. Eala found her rhythm, clawed her way into the second set, and stole it in a tiebreak. The match kept going. 3 hours. Both players pushed to their absolute limits. In the deciding set, Eala actually built a lead, 3-1. She was 2 games away from one of the biggest upsets in Asian tennis history. But experience matters, and Zheng found another gear, closing out the final set 6-3, going on to claim the gold medal. Eala walked away with bronze and something else, a memory. the memory of exactly how close she came, and exactly what it felt like to have a former top 5 player on the ropes. Fast forward to today, and everything about that equation has flipped. Eala isn't an 18-year-old underdog anymore. She's ranked 29th in the world. She's carrying a red-hot winning streak into Washington, and she just walked off the grass at Wimbledon having reached the 4th round. A genuine career milestone, battling her way through a draw that chewed up far more experienced names. Her season has been a study in relentless upward motion, deep runs early in the year, a final at the Birmingham Classic, consistent, dangerous tennis on every surface she's touched, and now, on hard courts, heading into the most important stretch of the calendar before the US Open, she draws the one player who beat her once before and never let her forget it. Here's where the story takes its first real turn, the one that had Chinese tennis media in a frenzy the moment the draw dropped. Because this isn't just an unlucky pairing. This is, statistically and emotionally, close to the worst possible first-round opponent Zheng Qinwen could have received. A wounded former champion, still rebuilding her confidence, still searching for consistency, thrown directly into the path of the most informed, dangerous, unseeded player in the entire draw. It's the kind of first-round matchup that makes you wonder if the tennis gods have a sense of humor, or maybe a sense of cruelty. For Zheng, a loss here doesn't just end a tournament. It threatens to unravel weeks of careful, painful rebuilding right before the final Grand Slam of the season. For Eala, a win doesn't just send her to round 2. It sends a message to the rest of the tour that Wimbledon wasn't a fluke, that she is no longer the plucky underdog everyone roots for, but a genuine threat to anyone in the draw, including former top 5 Olympic gold medal winning opponents. Now back to that doubles decision, because I promised you it would matter, and it does. Eala was scheduled to play doubles in Washington alongside Venus Williams, 2 players from completely different eras, teaming up, generating buzz of their own. And then, in the days leading up to the tournament, Eala withdrew from that partnership entirely, choosing instead to pour every ounce of her focus into the singles draw. Reporting around the decision pointed to her respect for Venus, and a recognition that a partner deserves someone who can give everything, physically and mentally, something that wasn't possible while carrying the weight of this particular first-round assignment. Think about what that tells you. Not about strategy, about mindset. A 21-year-old, given the opportunity to share a court with a legend, decided that opportunity mattered less than being fully prepared for one single match against one specific opponent. That's not the decision of a player who sees this as just another first round. That's the decision of someone who understands exactly what's at stake and exactly who is standing across the net. Let's talk about how this actually plays out on court, because the tactical picture here is genuinely fascinating. Zheng Qinwen's game at its best is built on early dominance, a big first serve, a forehand that can end rallies in 3 or 4 shots, and a willingness to take the ball early and push opponents backward. If her elbow holds up and her serve percentage is high, she dictates terms from the very first point. She wants short points. She wants Eala uncomfortable and off balance before a rally even develops. The problem for Zheng is that Eala, as a left-hander, disrupts exactly that kind of rhythm. Her slice serve out wide on the ad court pulls opponents into uncomfortable positions, opening up angles for her forehand that right-handed opponents rarely have to deal with. And Eala's game this year hasn't just been about defending well. She's been stepping inside the baseline, taking time away from opponents, refusing to sit back and wait for mistakes. If Zheng's first serve percentage dips even slightly, if her forehand loses a fraction of its usual venom, Eala has shown all season that she is ruthless about punishing exactly that kind of opening. There's a psychological layer sitting underneath all of this tactical detail, and it might matter more than any single shot. Zheng Qinwen has openly admitted that since returning from injury, stringing together consistent wins has been difficult. That kind of admission from a former top 5 player isn't small. It's an acknowledgement that the body might be healed, but belief takes longer to rebuild than any surgery. Every point in this match is going to carry extra weight for her. Not just because of the ranking gap that no longer favors her, but because a first-round exit here on a wild card, against a player who beat expectations at Wimbledon, would extend a narrative she's desperately trying to escape. Meanwhile, Eala steps into this match with almost the opposite mental profile. Low pressure, in the sense that nobody expects her to lose and blames her for it. High pressure, in the sense that she has already shown she believes she can beat elite players, and now has a chance to settle a 3-year-old score in the process. That combination, a player with nothing to lose facing a player with everything to prove, tends to produce exactly the kind of unpredictable, high-stakes tennis that turns a first round into the most talked-about match of an entire tournament. So here's where we land, and here's the full circle moment I promised you at the start of this video. Remember that doubles withdrawal? The one that seemed almost unnecessary, almost dramatic, when the news first broke? It wasn't dramatic at all. It was clarity. Alex Eala looked at her schedule, looked at the name sitting across from her in that first-round draw, and made a decision that most 21-year-olds wouldn't have the discipline to make. She gave up a partnership with a legend to give herself the best possible chance against a different kind of legend. A former Olympic champion who once had her on the brink of defeat, and is now, in some ways, fighting for her career in the way Eala once had to fight for recognition. 3 years ago, an 18-year-old came within 2 games of pulling off one of the biggest upsets in Asian tennis history. Now older, sharper, and riding the best form of her career, she gets a second chance to finish what she started. And on the other side of the net stands a former world number 4 with a gold medal in her trophy case, and a body that only recently stopped fighting her, desperate for one more proof that the player she used to be is still in there somewhere. Whichever way this match goes, it is impossible to overstate what's actually on the line here. For Zheng Qinwen, this is about survival, about proving to herself, to her fans, and to a tennis world watching closely that a serious injury didn't quietly end her prime. For Alex Eala, this is about confirmation, about proving that grass court heroics at Wimbledon translate to every surface, against every kind of opponent, including the ones who already know exactly how dangerous she can be. 2 athletes, 2 completely different battles. 1 court in Washington, D.C. If you've made it this far, you already know why this first-round match is generating more buzz than some tournament finals. It has history, it has redemption, it has a rising star and a wounded champion, and it has a 21-year-old who cared enough about the outcome to walk away from a legend just to be ready for it. That's not a footnote. That's the whole story. Drop your prediction in the comments. Tell me who you think finds a way to win this one and why. And if this kind of deep, story-driven sports breakdown is your thing, this is exactly what we do here at Sherry Diaries. So make sure you're subscribed because the next chapter of this rivalry might be closer than anyone expects. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.